Buddy. My name is Guru. I head the Data and AI Southeast Asia business for Avanade. I'm going to talk about introduction to agentic AI, especially how it is applicable in a healthcare industries. Um, just caveat. So all the information which I come to share are personal in nature and is based on my expertise. Doesn't endorse my company views or any other views. Thank you. If you look at the evolution of data and AI platform, right? I mean, I've been part of this data and AI platform for close to more than 2 decades. It all started with the first generations where you take a copy of a source system and create operational reports like what is my daily sale, you know, what's my bank balance, etc. Right? That's what the start of a data warehousing is probably 1970s of the world, right? Right? Before we were even born. The era which is very prominent, what I call as a line of business era, in the 90s of the world, if you see the Kimball's method become famous, each department wants to do well. So that's where the data actually supports a business. You take finance department or you take a purchase department, they created their own data mart for their functionalities. It has served them well, but since they got the benefit of the each department, they said, hey, why don't we extend it to the enterprise? Then we got this long S curve, right? And this is the biggest S curves we had, the enterprise data warehouse system. Then the likes of Teradata's of the world, the likes of Netezza of the world, again came the big data of the world. That's where the EDW came, where we saw that every single data from an organization can be fed into a centralized systems, and then the whole enterprise can get benefit out of that. So this is where era called data actually supporting the kind of like moved away from supporting the business to actually supporting the enterprise business itself. From the department, it moved on to the enterprise support business. Next comes the era of cloud, right? So there are hyperscalers on the cloud. If you look at hyperscalers, be it AWS, Google, or Microsoft, this is where they said a lot of promise have been made. Hey, move from EDW to cloud, then you'll get a lot of benefits and have a low cost of compute, low cost of storage. And then this is where the era, the data and AI is no longer support the role. They actually in the driving seat. The data actually drives the business. Now we are into the fifth generation, which I call as a Gen AI or agentic AI era. This is no longer about data anymore. It is still the fundamental, it's still part of data, but here they're going to drive efficiency at scale through AI. So we are in the Gen AI agentic era, and I'm going to talk a little bit more on that. So when you look at AI, right, it's a paradigm shift in AI. But one good thing about AI is that all of the AI are still relevant. So there's a traditional AI, we do simple classification, regression, and clustering. It is still relevant even today. And then we got the Gen AI stuff. Like, when Gen AI came, it was called as an iPhone moment, right? It truly is. Then we have this LLMs, large language models, small language models. Then Microsoft introduced this Copilot, etc. Then we are in this agentic AI world, right? So what's the difference? If you look at traditional AI, it actually learns and recommends. In the generative AI, it learns, retrieves, and creates, and it still augments a human being. Here, agentic AI is learns, retrieves, create, orchestrate, and most importantly, it accomplishes a work. That's the key difference between an agentic AI and another generative AI, or which is the traditional. It actually completes the work, and that's we are at the start of an agentic AI, but in the years to come, you will see more of that. Again, I wanted to quote: "Purpose of knowledge is action, not knowledge by themselves." Right. So this is where agentic AI really converts knowledge into an action almost autonomously. So let's look at deep dive about how does it agentic AI work? What is the main difference, right? The definition of agentic AI is it independently executes tasks and makes decisions, and it awares the context. So there's a contextual awareness is there. Based on the awareness, it does the prediction and identifies the action and execute the action and gets the feedback. And feedback goes back to the awareness. So that's why if you look at agents, AI agents, it's actually have traditional machine learning, the generative AI, even the rules engine, and the enterprise systems itself. They don't act in silos, but they act as almost like an integrator across these four different AIs, right? Including the enterprise systems. So the key thing is it's a goal-driven behavior, not necessarily augmenting behavior or like human augmentation. It actually drives based on the goal. Since it knows the context back, since it has the awareness, the ability to take a decision and do action significantly improves. Let's take a deep dive. How does it look technically, right? Let's take a example. I'm going to give an example using Microsoft technology. Let's say that there's an employee logs into a Microsoft team, which is already an authenticated, right? Then, and he puts in a query, hey, I want these answers. I want this, my leave application to be, approved or sanctioned or to apply, right? Any task which gives. And it goes to the semantic kernel, which is where the orchestrator happens. There are different kinds of orchestrator, can be semantic kernel, can be autogen, anything. Then there are different agents gets invoked. There can be multiple small agents. And the important thing here is that these are not multi-purpose agents, but these are specialized agents. Like, for example, we have a SOP agent, we have a policy agent, we have a roster agent, we have a simple like enterprise agent, like Dynamics agent, SAP agent, etc. They all go to what I call as a vector store, and we know about vector store in the GenAI context that we need to store information in a vector database so that it can retrieve information part. So that's how you get it. If you go from right to left, the information is stored in a vector store and in the application, invoked by agents, by different agents, and then orchestrated and consolidated by semantic kernel or autogen, provides the answer back to the Microsoft Teams. That's how a multi-agentic architecture works. There are restrictions about using multi-agentic AI, but I just wanted to think about it. Different. So let's look at different professions or impact of AI, right? Again, if you look at bank has transitioned to mobile bank. When you look at taxi kind of a ride-hailing app. Then we have this warfare, drone warfare. But look at nurse. She still has the same problem. She still have remained the same. That's what does nurse do? Not just injections, okay? He does a lot of administrative appointment scheduling, assistant billing, prepares roster, nurse handover, etc., right? And then he does also the healthcare task, takes readings and assists doctor and patient case. This is where agent AI can really help a nurse by automating all of this so-called administrative task, right? If you look at it, appointment schedule, you can use an agentic AI to complete the the appointment scheduling itself, not just helping, just completing the task. And then you can actually prepare the billing itself. You can actually prepare the roster itself, not just assisting the roster, but just prepare the roster itself. Nurse handover can be significantly kind of automated because nurse, he says to another nurse, and that can be, added to the digital medium, and then you can prepare this, and then handover. Discharge summary based on several information available, like digitally, can be prepared automatically. Again, automatic patient removal. So these are the tasks agentic AI, and that's what we have done in the past. Like, agentic AI can help nurse significantly removing her burden. So what happens? Then the nurse becomes happy, and she smiles here. She's not really like overwhelmed. A nurse is one of the persona, but they're not necessarily all the personas. But the healthcare can be empowered using agentic AI. It also improves diagnostics. We can simply improve diagnostics by using agentic AI. You have a personalized treatment plan because you have the information of a person and you have also access to the hospital management systems. You can actually get a personalized treatment plans for each patient. Again, we talked about streamlined administrative tasks, right? What I want to leave at the end of this presentation is that it's not Agentic AI it's not a fad. It's going to here to stay, and it's going to do efficiency at scales. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.